Right everyone, it is Finn and welcome back to a brand new season of Premier League predictions, where today we're going to be talking about whether Luton can get their first ever Premier League win, what's going to happen between Chelsea and Liverpool, and can Andre Onana tame the Wolves. But of course, as it is a brand new Premier League season, I thought we might as well have a guest. So of course, Isaac, how are you doing? Are you ready for the brand new season?
Absolutely, man. Very excited for these matchups. Lots of exciting underdogs coming through to the league as well, like you mentioned, Luton. But obviously, I'm a bit torn about these predictions still because the transfers are not all confirmed. The transfer window closes on September 1st. So by the time this video is uploaded, we could see some new transfers flowing out of nowhere. But yeah, other than that, very excited to share my early thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm tremendously excited, which, by the way, guys, as Isaac said, this is recorded about a week in advance. So if half of the Premier League has moved to Saudi Arabia, I do apologize for that. But obviously, I mean, we have 10 games to talk about. We might as well jump straight into our first game of the new match week with Burnley versus Man City. Obviously, the teacher versus the student, company versus Pep Guardiola. I think this has potential to be an exciting one. I do hate to say that despite the fact that I like Vincent Kompany's kind of project at Burnley, I'm swaying towards Man City here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I would really love to see Vincent Kompany really pull off something against his former manager, obviously his former club. He definitely has the knowledge to definitely produce some kind of result, but I think it's still a bit too early. Maybe later in the season. I know they're the home side for now, but I'm going to stick with the Manchester City 2-0 win here.
Yeah, I think I've gone for something very similar. I mean, although Burnley had the best defense and attack in the championship last year, you would have to date back to 2015 since Burnley last beat Man City.
It's been 84 years.
I mean, even last season, we kind of saw this matchup in the League Cup, and even then, Man City won 6-0. So I'm going to go for a very similar 6-0 win. Oh, actually, I almost said 6-0 again. Maybe I won't be that harsh. I'm going to go for a similar 3-0 win. Sorry, I was looking at the previous prediction there. But yeah, very similar prediction. But at the end of the day, it just has to go to Man City. Now, jumping into our second game of the match week, we've got Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. Now, although as I'm a Manchester United fan, I have to say I really do like this project that Arsenal's holding. I think they've had a very successful transfer window. They've brought in some brilliant players. And although Nottingham Forest, once again, they've brought in some exciting players like Anthony Elanga, I still feel like there's a goalkeeper situation there. And I'm going to copy-paste the Man City prediction with a 3-0 win to Arsenal.
I have the exact same scoreline. I really think Arsenal were incredible last season despite just falling short and kind of losing their momentum throughout the season. They really were fantastic with the players they already had. And now they've improved their squad with the likes of Declan Rice. Rice, baby. Very excited to see how he performs there. I'm going to completely agree with you. 3-0 for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I can only see them winning a game like this. But luckily, now that we've gotten those two games out of the way, things get a tiny bit closer as we have Bournemouth versus West Ham United. Now, looking at Bournemouth, yes, they brought in the likes of Justin Kluivert, but I'm a tiny bit worried about them this season. I don't know what it is, but I do feel like now that they don't have Gary O'Neill, I'm not quite sure what to make from them. Obviously, looking at West Ham United, yes, they won a European trophy last season, but once again, also extremely underwhelming, and now they don't have Declan Rice. So, looking at these two teams, once again, could be extremely close. I was tempted to put a draw, but I might just edge this with West Ham United with a 2-1 win.
Ooh. Okay, I've gone for the draw. I'm going for 1-1. I do think there will be some slight problems without Gary O'Neill at the beginning, but Bournemouth have brought in a lot of exciting talent, like you already mentioned, Kluivert, but also the young Hungarian Milos Kerkez. He was phenomenal in the Eredivisie, a great young fullback, and I do think that Bournemouth can kind of show their quality on the pitch somewhat. Maybe tactically not at their peak, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Okay, yeah, I mean, as I said, I was extremely close to going for that. I mean, I think a lot of it depends whether Phil Billing can kind of recreate what he did for them last season. But yeah, I think in the meantime could be a very, very close game. But as Isaac said, he's going with the draw. I'm going with the West Ham win. We'll have to see what happens. Which, of course, before we jump into the next prediction, don't forget to put your predictions down below. As much as we can say our own opinions, we can do as much research as we want. At the end of the day, I'm always interested to see what you guys think. So put down in the comment section down below. But of course, jumping into our next game, it's a very, very interesting one with Brighton versus Luton. Now, Isaac, what do you think? I mean, obviously we've got a team who's in Europe at the moment versus a team that has never been in the Premier League before.
Yeah, Brighton were fantastic last season. I mean, Luton's story was great as well, obviously. But something that does kind of question me for Brighton is some of their players could potentially be leaving. I mean, they already lost McAllister, and they could be on their way to lose Caicedo. There's loads of rumors circulating around that he could be on his way as well.
Do not touch this. This is a no touching there.
But there's still so much quality on this side. Even after Graham Potter left, this side continued to produce in the Premier League. They secured Europa League for this season, and I think they're going to have a strong start here against Luton. I would love to see the underdogs pull through. I would love to see Luton continue to tell an incredible story, but I'm going to have to go for Brighton 4, Luton 1.
Oh, wow. Okay, quite a strong result. I mean, I don't blame you there. I do think Brighton are the strong favourites here. And I would search for every single reason to give Luton a win here. But I think I tend to agree. I'm going to go for a slightly less convincing scoreline, but a 2-1 win to Brighton nonetheless. I mean, as you said, at the time of recording, they've still got Caicedo, but we don't know whether they will come the beginning of the season. But you know what? When they've got young players in their midfield, like Caicedo and James Milner, once again, anything can happen. But yeah, jumping into our next game now. As I said, there are some very, very close contests this match week, and we've got Everton versus Fulham next.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Now, this is probably the closest I've come to a draw in terms of my predictions. Looking at Everton, as we know, they've been fighting relegation the past 2 seasons. Now, Danjuma up in front. It's going to be interesting to see whether that kind of solves their defense or their attacking issues. As we know, Fulham, they've got a whole bunch of problems of their own. Polina seems to be injured at the moment. The likes of Willian and Mitrovic seem to be out of the club, despite the fact that Willian signed a new contract 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I see a few problems for Fulham here. I don't know if you see the same thing.
Yeah, I definitely do. I literally just saw what you mentioned about Willian last night. Mitrovic as well. He was always talking about how he wants to leave the club, and now Fulham have said no, he's staying. So the whole situation seems to be a mess. Very unpredictable side this season. But they are coming up against Everton, who for the past 2 seasons have just been avoiding relegation. So it's a bit of a tough one to call. And I think this is going to be the most boring match of the week. I'm going for 0-0.
Ooh, I was close, I was extremely close. I think Danjuma, for some reason, just edges it for me. I've got no idea why, don't ask. But I think Everton could just scrape a win here. And I am going to go with a 1-0 win to Everton. Although, as I said, could be extremely close. But I mean, as you said, you're going with a draw. And in the next game, I might go for a draw, as we have Sheffield United versus Crystal Palace. I mean, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here. I mean, initially, I thought this game had potential to be exciting. But obviously, Sheffield United in dire needs of a brand new attacker, as Njaya has left for the French league. Looking at Crystal Palace, Zaha out the door, the likes of Felici looks like he could be out the door. I feel like this could be my boring game of the match week. As I said, 1-1.
Yeah, I think Njaya's loss is definitely massive. Sucks that they had to lose in Marseille. He was phenomenal for them last season. I do think Sheffield United still impose some quality in the defense, though. Huge fan, obviously, of Ahmed Hodzic, the Bosnian. But I do think Crystal Palace will just edge Sheffield United on the first match day. I do think Sheffield United need to find some more quality up top to kind of be a threat in the Premier League. I think Crystal Palace will win 1-0 away.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, it could be an extremely close game. I do think both teams do need to improve their attack. I think they both need to buy 1 or 2 more players. But yeah, no, if there is going to be a winner, I think it will be Palace. But as I said, I'm going to go for a draw. And I mean, I think the next game has potential to be a draw, but for different reasons, it could be extremely exciting, as we have Newcastle United versus Aston Villa. I mean, I don't know about you, but I never thought that I'd see these 2 teams playing in Europe for a very, very long time.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought?
Not me.
Yeah, they had incredible seasons last year. And to be honest, I think both of them can clinch a spot in Europe once again this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's entirely possible. I mean, I'm a huge fan of what Newcastle United have done this transfer window. They've brought in some brilliant players. And weirdly enough, I almost like the idea of Harvey Barnes playing on the wing more than Saint Maximin. I mean, Saint Maximin, obviously, from an entertainment point of view, I think he was a real modern day the streets will never forget. But I do think, once again, Newcastle United just seem to be improving their team. But I can say the exact same about Aston Villa. I mean, from defense to the midfield to attack, they've improved everything they've needed to. I mean, call them Aston Villa or Aston Villarreal at this point. But yeah, they did face each other in the preseason. They did get a 3-3 draw. And I don't know if I can choose a winner here. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
I've gone for a 3-3 draw once again. I mean, both of these sides impose so much quality. Newcastle qualifying for the Champions League this season, which is immense. And the signings that Aston Villa have brought in, I mean, Tielemans, Diaby, they really look to be a strong side. I see both attacks going all out, just like in that preseason friendly. I don't know why, but I'm going to go for 3-3 once again.
Okay, yeah, so very, very, very similar results. And I mean, I think the close results just keep on continuing because we've got Brentford versus Tottenham Hotspurs next. Now, once again, a few interesting things happening here. We don't know whether Harry Kane will still be at Spurs come the beginning of the season. And as we know, Brentford don't have Ivan Toney because, I mean, if Spurs still have Harry Kane, they'll be fine up front. And the only fine up front is the one Ivan Toney got for betting.
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
So once again, it's going to be interesting to see how they sort that situation out. But I think I might still edge Tottenham Hotspurs here. I think even if they do somehow lose Harry Kane, I think James Maddison, I'm excited to see his creative ability in the squad. And I do think that Spurs still have what it takes to beat Brentford. I'm going to go 1-0 here.
I think in the second to last match day of the Premier League last season, Brentford were able to beat Tottenham 3-1. I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised if Brentford do grab the win here. Very, very good side. Even without Ivan Toney, obviously that's a huge loss, but they still have a great squad backing him up. They're going to be lacking that attack, though, which is why I think Tottenham will just edge a win. Again, who knows about Harry Kane at the moment? Maybe it could be a draw, but I am also going to just edge Tottenham, grabbing an away win 2-1.
Yeah, I think it could be extremely, extremely close. But of course, maybe the biggest game of the match week and the second last game of the match week. I'm sure you're super excited for this, as it is Chelsea versus Liverpool. Maybe I'll let you talk about this game a bit first.
The 4 times these clubs have faced each other last season, it finished in a 0-0 draw.
Boring.
I am really hoping that doesn't happen again, obviously. We have seen it way too many times. We need to see something more exciting from both of these squads, and I think we will, as both of them definitely have somewhat revamped. Chelsea totally have, as their squad from last season has just completely left the door. So many players, few going to Saudi Arabia, Azpilicueta going to Atletico Madrid, Mason Mount going to Manchester United, etc., etc. Kovacic to Manchester City. I mean, there's so many examples. The whole squad is new. They did have a strong preseason friendly, though. We saw the likes of Mudryk starting to kind of pop off again after he had a terrible start to Chelsea. But Liverpool have also brought in a totally new midfield. We see now the likes of Szoboszlai, McAllister in, Henderson out, Fabinho out. Both of them have gone to Saudi Arabia as well.
So long, partner.
It's a tough one to call because both these squads are obviously new. But I do think Liverpool can edge a narrow win away at Stamford Bridge. I'm going to say it finishes 2-1. That 0-0 draw result finally is out the door, and we finally see something from the Reds. Let's go.
I know. I mean, as a Manchester United fan, I'm super excited for this game. I don't think it will be a 0-0 draw, and I mean, I can't really blame all the Chelsea players for leaving the door after the last time they got an attacker from RB Leipzig. But I do think Christopher Nkunku will be different. I'm excited to see what he can do up front for Chelsea. But yeah, I seem to agree with you. I mean, the one thing I've spoken about for years now is the only area Liverpool desperately need to improve on is their attacking midfield position. And with Szoboszlai and with McAllister now, I do think Liverpool have what it takes to win this match, finally break the deadlock, and I do think Liverpool will win this one 1-0. But of course, going from Liverpool to Manchester United next, as we have Man United versus Wolves in our final game of the season. And I mean, it's been so long as a Manchester United fan where I'm actually this level of confidence heading into a brand new season. As we know, Wolves have pretty much gotten rid of their entire team. I think it's the weakest I've ever seen Wolves in a very long time. And versus a Manchester United team who only seem to be on the up. I mean, I think I would genuinely cry if Manchester United lost any points here. I'm going to go for a very convincing 3-0 win.
I've gone for the exact same thing. Manchester United definitely look to be a bit on the rise. I don't know if they are definite top 4 candidates this season.
How dare you?
I think they might just edge it, maybe 4th or 3rd. But yeah, like you mentioned, so many people are questioning how Wolves will be this season, and I'm not convinced whatsoever. Their squad is absolutely thinning. They spent way too much money on Cunha, who really wasn't even that convincing when they got to test him out in January. I don't have faith in Wolves doing anything here, and I think Manchester United can absolutely demolish them at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I mean, you'd at least like to think so, but I mean, at least this isn't the Manchester United team that was under Ragnick or Solskjaer. This seems to actually be a United team that can do something. I think come the beginning of this season, especially if we can get Rasmus Højlund, that would be huge for us.
He's done it!
I mean, in the last 6 games versus Wolves, Manchester United have picked up 5 wins. And that's when Wolves had their best players. So once again, as I said, no excuse. And hopefully Andre Onana can get a clean sheet in his first Premier League game for Manchester United. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for my Match Week 1 predictions, or should I say our Match Week 1 predictions for the brand new Premier League season. Once again, Isak, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. Cannot wait for this season to start, like I said. And, I mean, best of luck to both of our clubs, even though we're rivals.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I do wish you luck, but I do hope that we end up crushing you in the league. Hopefully there won't be any 7-0 thrashings this time around.
I'm hoping there is, but yeah, we'll see.
No, always good to have that rivalry. But of course, guys, don't forget to check out Isak's channel. Obviously, his description or his channel link will be in the description down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this on my channel in the future. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Finn, FYNN. Until next time, cheers.